Jen, you can go ahead and let the public in,
Okay,
and then you can start the recording as well.
thank you.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Bellflower City Council to order Monday, March 14th, 2022 at 7:02 p.m. And just for the record, we've had no closed session on the agenda today. So we're going to move on with roll call, please.
Mayor, if I may, can I state the meeting protocols?
Oh, yes, the electronic protocol. Let's hear that first.
Thank you. Before we begin, please note that all public meetings will be recorded. When a participant logs in via their computer or calls in to join the meeting, their name and/or phone number will be visible to all participants. Unless you are providing public comment, your audio will be muted and your video will be disabled. Persons wishing to be audience members to the meeting may do so anonymously. Anonymous participants, however, will not be recognized for public comment. Persons who seek to bypass the city's host controls will be dropped and blocked from the meeting. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you. Now may we have roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Santinas?
Here.
Councilmember Hamada?
Here.
Councilmember Coops?
Here.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Here.
Mayor Dutton?
Here. All right, may I have everybody rise for the invocation led by Councilmember Dan Coops and the Pledge of Allegiance by P.J. Milana, Director of Parks and Rec.
Please bow your heads with me. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening hour to give you thanks for all the blessings that you've given to us, and individually and collectively as our city. Be with us as we deliberate those items in front of us to give the right opinions and to give the right decisions to make our city better. We're also mindful at this time of the strife in Ukraine, and we ask for blessings on that situation, which is in a very perilous situation at this time. We're also thankful for the fact that the COVID virus is diminishing, and that we're establishing new protocols as we try to get back to the way we ran our business before the virus began. So we also always want to remember those who protect us on the national stage, and also those firefighters and law enforcement that keep us safe. So with that, we thank you for allowing us to meet together and express ourselves this evening. In His name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please place your right hand over your heart and join with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, City Council announcements, and I will go first. The LA County Department of Public Health issued a new health officer order that went into effect Friday, March 4th, which aligns with the state public health officer's guidance on masking. The order states that, in part, masks are strongly recommended, but not required for all persons, regardless of vaccination status, in other indoor public settings and businesses. For more information on the health officer's order, visit publichealth.lacounty.gov. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Sonny Santa Ynez.
Thank you, Mayor. The Bellflower Chamber of Commerce invites businesses, service clubs, and the community to join in their monthly morning mingle, which will take place Tuesday, March 29, 2022, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. For more information, please call the Chamber of Commerce at 562-867-1744. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Raymond Hamada.
Yes, good evening, Bellflower. To help support local business owners, the City of Bellflower is highlighting local businesses in the monthly e-Citizen newsletter by sharing, business updates, special events, local holiday celebrations, and more. Additionally, to show support for new businesses in the city, business owners can request a free, and I said free because it's all in caps here, look, a ribbon cutting ceremony to celebrate their grand opening and meet the Bellflower community. For more information on the Bellflower business resources, please contact the Economic Development Department at 562-804-1424, and that'd be at extension 2010. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hamada. Councilmember Victor Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Bellflower. Last year, the City of Bellflower launched buybellflower.com, a digital gift card program to benefit both local businesses and customers. This program is still available through the end of the month, March 2022. For questions regarding this program, please contact our Economic Development Department at 562-804-1424, extension 2249. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Councilmember Dan Coops.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Bellflower Volunteer Center works closely with community groups, churches, service clubs, schools, and organizations, and residents to provide spring baskets for our students in need. Partnering with Caring Connections through the Bellflower Unified School District, the Volunteer Center takes referrals from case managers who then work directly with families in need. If you'd like to be a part of this important program to donate items for a spring basket, please contact the Volunteer Center. They're located at Sims Park at phone number 562-804-1424, extension 2331, or by mail at MINA, MNAVARRO, at bellflower.org. Please note that all donations must be received by Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Coops. All right, another announcement or presentation for the National Women's History Month. Is there anybody in offsite in electronic Zoom land that's present? Okay, then I'll just go ahead and read this in. Like I said, it's National Women's History Month, and we got a proclamation for that. Whereas Americans of women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless record and unrecorded ways. Whereas American women have played and continued to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. Whereas American women in every race, class, ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. And whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights and suffrage and the equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement and emancipation movement of the industrial labor movement, civil rights movement, and other movements, especially for peace movement, which created a far more fair and justice society for all. Now, therefore, I, Ray Dutton, Mayor of the City of Bellflower, do hereby proclaim March 22 as Women's History Month. Signed by myself, Mayor Ray Dutton, Mayor Pro Tem Sonny Santa Ynez, Councilmember Raymond Y. Hamada, Councilmember Dan Coops, and Councilmember Victor A. Sanchez. And we have another presentation for vector control. And we're going to have Mary Joy of the Greater Los Angeles Vector Control District will now be providing a presentation. City Clerk, will you please allow Mary Joy to share the screen?
What about Sunny?
Mr. Mayor, can I introduce Mary Joy?
Oh,
Can we
yes.
do that?
Well,
I was asked by our city manager to introduce Mary Joy.
okay.
Mary Joy Coburn is the Director of Communications for the Greater Los Angeles County Vector Control District. Her department is responsible for education and community outreach within the LA area. And as you know, the Vector Control District covers all the way from Bellflower, not Cerritos, all the way to San Fernando Valley. It's a wide area, and they do a wonderful job. So because we are the summer season is coming for us, so I think this is an opportune time for Ms. Coburn to make a presentation about what the district has done and what they plan for the next, especially this coming mosquito season. So with that, we welcome Ms. Coburn for her presentation.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem Santa Ynez, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. As Mayor Pro Tem Santa Ynez have already said, we are vector control. Let me just share. And we do cover a large area, as you can see here. Just a little bit more, we were formed in 1952. Our mission is to protect residents in Greater Los Angeles from mosquitoes and mosquito-borne diseases. And so we service over 1,000 square miles from Santa Clarita down to Long Beach and out to South El Monte. And that is servicing over 6 million residents. So some of the stuff that we do provide an integrated vector control management that consists of disease surveillance. We have scientists that go out and trap mosquitoes. They identify them, and then we test them for diseases, which I will talk a little bit more about in a bit. We also have mosquito management, which is our operations team. These are the folks that you see driving around in trucks, and they also answer service request calls. My department is community outreach, so we go out, do presentations such as these, and work really closely with a lot of service groups and homeowners associations and different groups within the city of Bellflower and other cities in our jurisdiction. So this map shows the services that have been provided in the city of Bellflower since 2020. So as far as residential and public inspections, that is, we have conducted over 900, so it was 954 inspections since 2020. As far as unmaintained swimming pools, there have been 383. But as you can see here, the number is slowly coming down. It started in 2020 at 299, 2021, 287. So it came down just a little bit. And what we do is we work with homeowners that may not be maintaining their pools, because swimming pools are breeding sources for mosquitoes. And when mosquitoes are there and they start hatch, they could affect an entire neighborhood or community. So we work very closely with the homeowners. And then underground storm drains have been treated 322 times. We have our gutter crew that have a route, and they go every 7 to 10 days to inspect gutters and see if there's any breeding going. And if there are, then they conduct some kind of treatment. Why should we care about mosquitoes? Well, mosquitoes are the deadliest animal in the world. They cause over 700,000 fatalities each year, and they are capable of transmitting West Nile virus, Zika, dengue, chikungunya. It only takes one mosquito that is infected that could potentially cause an outbreak in a community. So just a little biology about mosquitoes. Only female mosquitoes bite. And the whole process is they bite so they have a blood meal so they can lay eggs. So they need the protein from the blood. They lay their eggs on egg wraps or individually on the interior walls of containers. And then the eggs hatch to a larva, pupa, adult. This whole thing could take about 7 to 10 days in the winter time, but when it's hot, everything is accelerated, and they could complete their life cycle in about 4 to 5 days. So when it's warmer outside, that's when we are especially weary of mosquitoes, and that's when we do a lot of service and education to our residents. So this kind of shows the life cycle of mosquitoes. We like to show this because a lot of people, and even kids especially, they see these wiggling mosquitoes and they think they are tadpoles, so they don't get rid of the standing water. So those are the wigglers, and then they become pupa and then adult, and then they emerge. That's how they emerge. It's really interesting, but because they could be fatal if they are carrying diseases. That's what we are trying to prevent. There are two types of mosquitoes that we are most concerned about in our area. There's the Culex mosquito, which is a brown mosquito. These have been around for a while, and they are capable of transmitting West Nile virus. Most recently, we have started to identify Aedes mosquitoes throughout our jurisdiction. These are black and white mosquitoes, and they are very aggressive, especially during the day. So let's talk about West Nile virus first. Here are some stats. We don't have any numbers for 2022 just yet because we're just ramping up the season right now. But these are the numbers as far as human cases. Within our jurisdiction, last year it was 68. The year before it was 313. In the city of Bellflower, 2020 was 8, 2021 was 5 as far as mosquito samples that we collect and test for West Nile virus. So that doesn't seem like a whole lot. But if you look at the entire jurisdiction, there are some areas that are just affected even more than the city of Bellflower. And because we know that sometimes we work in other areas or we have families or friends in other areas, we could be exposed. So it's important to note where some of the West Nile virus is present. So we typically also send out a map of where the activities are going. So you could see in 2021, it was 8 for Bellflower, and then last year it is 5. And as soon as we get any kind of positive, I typically write an email to the council members, and we also share the information to key staff at the city. And then we have a lot of social media posts just to inform residents and with recommendations that they should follow to protect themselves. The invasive Aedes mosquitoes, as I mentioned, are black and white mosquitoes that are capable of transmitting these diseases: Zika, dengue, chikungunya, yellow fever, and canine heartworm to our dogs and cats. Good thing to note is we haven't had any local transmission, and especially with COVID, a lot of our borders have been closed. People were not traveling, so we haven't had any travel associated cases. However, as people are starting to travel again, they could go to an area where there is current outbreaks or transmissions occurring. Those mosquitoes would bite our residents. Now our residents are viremic and they come back to our city. And if the mosquitoes are present in their neighborhood, those mosquitoes could bite them. Now the mosquitoes are carrying the virus, and that's how we could have an outbreak. And that's what we are trying to prevent as vector control and as we're working with LA County Public Health. This map shows how the invasive Aedes mosquitoes just kind of spread. In 2013, they were identified in South El Monte over here. It'll go back to that right there, 2013. And then it slowly spread out, and then it's made its way to the valley. At this time, they're pretty much present in our entire jurisdiction in all of Southern California. I get asked this question a lot: can mosquitoes transmit COVID-19? The answer is no. Different mosquitoes transmit different diseases, but fortunately, they do not transmit COVID-19. So what should you do as residents? As vector control, we have our own protocols and treatments, but as residents, the most important thing for you to do is to get rid of standing water. As you've seen, mosquitoes need standing water, and they only need to be in that water for about 5 days to complete their life cycle and start becoming biting adults. So get rid of any standing water around your home every 3 to 5 days to ensure that you don't have any mosquitoes breeding. We have a do-it-yourself solutions page on our website that lists all the common breeding sources around the home and the simple steps that you can take to remove them. So you can go to tiptopstakeaction.org, you download that document, and you can do your own inspection around your home, or of course you can call us and we would be happy to have one of our technicians come out to help you. Another thing that is important to note is that you can protect yourself from mosquito bites by either wearing long sleeves, long pants, or if you don't want to do that, then make sure that the exposed skin is covered with EPA approved or CDC recommended repellent. And the active ingredients that we are recommending are DEET, picaridin, IR 3535, or oil of lemon eucalyptus. For DEET, we recommend that it is 20% or higher, and that you read the instructions in the back so you know how often to reapply. And pretty much it would say this. This is the key ingredients, 25% for DEET. So that's something that we would recommend. I'm often also asked, when is mosquito season? Pretty much because we live in Southern California and it's beautiful and it's usually pretty warm, it's pretty much all year. However, they are most active when it is warm, which is around from May to October, but it's starting to get warm now, so we could start to see activities as early as later this month. So this is the PSA that we shared last year. We're still developing the PSA this year, but I wanted to show this if you haven't seen it yet.
Are mosquitoes one more thing to worry about? Work, dinner, laundry, family. You don't need mosquito bites. Make mosquitoes one less thing. It's as easy as tip, toss, and take action. That's right. Tip out dirty water, toss out unneeded containers, and take action by using repellent. You have a lot to worry about, but mosquitoes aren't one anymore. One less mosquito, one less bite, one less worry. TipTossTakeAction.org.
And every year we do ask cities to partner with us. We can create a lot of billboards or any kind of artwork. You could put it on your publications, which the City of Bellflower have done in the past. So thank you so much. If you have access to bus shelters, that's typically through Public Works, we would be happy to partner with you so we could post that around the city. Billboards and then PSA service. I know sometimes you have movies in the park event. If we could show our 30-second PSA, that would be really great. And I wanted to show this as well. Each year, you know, we look at the number of engagement that we have on social media, and time again, the City of Bellflower has been up there as far as sharing our information. And so we are so grateful for the partnership and having Trustee Santa Inez on our board. He's also been really active about sharing our information. So I just wanted to take that time to thank you all. It's been so great to see the increase in participation from the residents of Bellflower. We also have our 70th anniversary coming up this year. This is our 70 years of public service, and we have an open house celebration on Saturday, April 18th. So I wanted to invite the council members and city residents and staff, if you are available, to stop by. We'll have food, activities, and a tour of our facilities. So I know I covered a lot, so just some highlights from my presentation. Mosquitoes need standing water to lay their eggs, so make sure that you get rid of standing water to prevent any kind of mosquito-transmitted diseases. Tip and toss containers that hold any water, wear repellent, and share the information with your friends. You can take a photo or use this QR code to go to our website. And this is the information for service requests, our website, or our social media. And that completes my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mary Joy. It was a great presentation.
My pleasure.
That was a great presentation. And Mayor Pro Tem, I apologize for tipping the bucket of Vector before your action. Do you have any final comments or thoughts since you are on the Vector board?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much. And I'm honored to represent the City of Bellflower in the Board of Trustees for the Vector Control District. And our Greater Los Angeles Vector Control District is one of the foremost and leading vector control district in the country. They speak at seminars, make presentations. And Mary Joy, I don't know if you can share, because I'm very excited with the new technology that we approved at the last board meeting. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something called Sterile insect technique. And as I've mentioned, only female mosquitoes bite. But the male mosquitoes are very, very useful. So right now we have acquired a machine that we are working with the Orange County Vector Control District. And this machine is able to sterilize the male mosquitoes so that when we do release them, and because they don't bite, they go into areas where the female mosquitoes are. When they mate, they don't produce any eggs, or the eggs are sterile, so they don't grow into biting adults. And this has been used in Brazil as well as in Florida, and it's been proven to be very effective. So this is a very new technology that we are hoping to do to prevent any more mosquito breeding and also to suppress the mosquito population in our area. At this time, we have not identified the city or the community where we would be doing it, but that is definitely something that we are looking into in our scientific technical department, are conducting, some traps to see areas that are probably more high risk of having these mosquitoes present. And that's probably where we're going to start. It's going to take a while for us to breed and grow a lot of male mosquitoes. And then we're going to have to separate them by gender, of course, so that the male mosquitoes are the ones that are sterilized and released in the communities where it is high risk. But that is something that we're excited about, and that's something to come in the near future.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this because this could be a game changer. For me, the best part is we're not going to be using chemicals. So basically, natural process for them to be sterilized. And one more thing, Mary Joy, since PJ is, I think, is on the line, you mentioned about sharing the information with our residents. During the summer, we have the Street Fest and the movie nights. Maybe
Yes.
we can have PJ show the 30-second PSA in one of those movie nights, and maybe also in one of those street night events, we can have an information booth for the vector control district.
We would love that. Thank you so much. So I will reach out to PJ to get that going.
Yes, and I know we've done that before, but yeah, just reach out to me and I'll get you connected with our staff and we'll get you guys connected.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, item 10 is public comments. Mr. Stewart.
This is the time set aside for the public to address the city council on matters not listed on the agenda. Those wishing to speak on an agenda item must utilize one of the methods listed on page 2 of the agenda. You will be given 3 minutes to address the city council. Attempts to provide comment at times not designated on the agenda may result in the city dropping you from the meeting.
But do we have any public comments, Ms. Clerk?
Before that, let me announce, if you would like to speak, please use the raise hand feature. If by computer, it appears under the Participants tab. If by phone app, it will appear under the More button at the bottom right-hand corner. Or if by telephone, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. You will be called upon in the order received. You can then unmute your microphone so that you can provide your comments. And quickly, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to point out that we did receive public comments prior to the start of the meeting, and that was distributed to the City Council and made available to the public.
All right.
Mayor, we have a raised hand for Mr. Whitehead.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Whitehead, is Mr. Gorecki there?
Yeah, Mr. Gorecki is here.
Okay, I'd like to thank him for sending me the links to the FAQ, which enabled me to do some more research on the situation with the Cal Recycle. And I've got some questions for him. The first one would be, has
Okay.
Cal Recycle even taken a look at the SLCP
Mr.
regulations November?
Mr. Whitehead, can you give me a minute here?
This isn't, Mr. Whitehead, this is not an opportunity for questions and answer on this. If you have a statement to make, please make the statement. If you have questions for Mr. Gorecki, you could meet with him offline and do it that way. So tonight, I would encourage you to make the statement you have, or if you just want to indicate your questions and Mr. Gorecki can get those to you offline, that's fine as well. But this is not the appropriate time to go through a question and answer period.
Okay, well, the statement would be the FAQ isn't very high quality. Makes me wonder if Cal Recycle even took a look at the SLCP regulations November 2020, because it seems that there are possibilities for opting out of the program, or the community doesn't necessarily have to participate in it. If they've got low population, or if it's rural, or it's too high in elevation. And then I'm wondering if CRNR conducts random inspections of trash cans through the roof reviews or if they're conducting waste evaluations in reference to section 9984.5.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehead. We appreciate that. If tomorrow you would like to sit down with Mr. Gurecki or myself or have a telephone call, we can attempt to answer your questions and address your concerns at that time. And if they're still not addressed at the next meeting, you can make your comments again, but I think we can solve them with just a quick call.
Are you okay with that, Mr. Whitehead?
Have Mr. Gurecki send me another email and we'll make arrangements for
Okay.
a conversation tomorrow.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right, that'll work. Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comments?
Yes, we have a raised hand for Julia Scalise.
All right, go
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Dutton, Mayor Pro Tem Santa Ynez, and members of the City Council. I'm Julia Scalise, and I am the Senior Director of Development and Communications at The Whole Child. We are a nonprofit organization that provides family housing, mental health, and parent enrichment services to vulnerable families in the region. Whole Child is also the county designated lead agency processing services to homeless families throughout Southeast Los Angeles County. And I'm speaking on behalf of Constanza Pachon, our CEO, and our board of directors and our staff. And I'm just here tonight to thank the council, city staff, and residents of the city of Bellflower for your partnership. Every year, in the first few months of the year, we try to come and talk to the cities in the region we serve, and that's why we're here tonight. And I would like to share our most recent service results and update you on our exciting new projects that will expand our reach and make our services even more accessible to Bellflower residents. So I want you to know that last year, the Whole Child served more than 3,200 families, including many Bellflower residents. Our services overall to Southeast Los Angeles County included nearly 44,000 hours of mental health therapy for children who are suffering from trauma, depression, anxiety, certainly increased over the last couple of years. And this includes our services for 55 children who are Bellflower residents. We provided housing services to nearly 1,000 families facing homelessness, including 99 Bellflower residents. Overall, we housed 276 families, and for the second consecutive year, our housing permanency rate was 99%. So when we help a family become housed, we then help them stay housed. We delivered parent enrichment resources to nearly 350 families, including 18 Bellflower families who have children ages birth to 5 years old. In total, we served 172 Bellflower families, helping provide them with the tools they need to raise emotionally and physically healthy children. One of the things I'm most excited to tell you is that since we came at the beginning of last year to speak to you, we have been accredited. We earned our first national accreditation. It's a 3-year accreditation, which is the maximum awarded from the Council on Accreditation, which evaluates social service organizations across the United States. And CEO accreditation affirms that the Whole Child meets, and this is their quote, the highest national standards in program excellence. And we were really happy to share that with you. In 2022, we're centralizing our housing and nutrition services at a second new headquarters in neighboring Downey. So that's going to make it, we hope, easier for Bellflower residents to access our services. This location
Okay,
is
your
a
time's
compliment.
up.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
Is there anyone else?
Mayor, I'm not seeing any further raised hands at this time.
Okay, well, let's move on with the agenda then. Item 13A, Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, this is consideration possible action to adopt resolution number 22-13, a resolution ratifying certain actions completed by the city manager, extending the existence of local emergency, and authorizing a return to in-person city council meetings. What we're looking for tonight is for the council to adopt a resolution which basically does several different things. One is to authorize the city manager to implement the AP&P, which requests that does not require masks in City Hall anymore, but does recommend masks in City Hall, complying with the county order on that. That's the big takeaway from here. Secondly, in addition to this, we want to extend the emergency until a future date. And then lastly, the recommendation here is to go back to public meetings for the city council, basically returning to normal at the next council meeting on the 28th of this month. What was not considered, though, in the discussion of this thus far was the continuation of having a Zoom meeting, doing a hybrid meeting of live in person and having a Zoom meeting. It's something that a lot of cities are doing, something we might want to consider. And I would take my direction from the city council on how they want to proceed with that. But short of that, I think we'd recommend approval of the resolution.
Before we go on to, I just have one question. I think I'll just take a shot first. Does it affect any of the emergency ordinances for businesses where, like restaurants for outside seating or anything like that? It's just the masking requirements in
It's
indoor.
just the policies for
Policy
City Hall.
indoor.
Right.
Got it. Oh, just, okay, City Hall, okay. How is my colleagues? What's your pleasure? Do you have any comments or questions?
Mayor, I just have a couple of questions here, just for clarification. So you mentioned, Mr. Stewart, you mentioned about the possibility of hybrid meeting.
I'm sorry, we've been rushing back to normal as rapidly as we could, as I know that's been the desire of the council and the staff to do so. But one thing we did not consider is actually doing a hybrid meeting. But in talking to several people, it's carried on. It's possible to do. We just run the meeting as usual, but we could accept comments from people that are going on Zoom just like they are today. And it probably is not a bad way to conduct the meeting if the council wants to do that, but it's really a policy call.
What I was thinking is because based on the guidelines, they advise that if a person is not feeling well, they shouldn't be coming to the city council, to a meeting. So I was kind of thinking about the key personnel here, the council members, managers, city clerk, city attorney. If one of us is not feeling well, I would like to have the opportunity to participate in that meeting online, at least for us here.
Would that be just staff level only online, or is it
Just
public?
just us.
Just staff? Okay.
I mean, just us here.
Just us here, right?
Mr.
Because
Mayor,
we are needed here in this meeting.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, that option has always been available to the city council. The only thing that will change, though, is after March 31st, if a city council member wishes to participate in the meeting away from the council chambers, he or she could do so, but they will need to post an agenda wherever they're at and allow the public into wherever they're at for public comment purposes. That's a Brown Act requirement, has always been a Brown Act requirement. The difference during COVID has been that it didn't matter where you were and you didn't have to post an agenda. And so that option is always available. I think what the city manager was discussing was allowing the public to participate via Zoom as if they were inside the chambers. And that the Brown Act doesn't really regulate. That you could simply do as a matter of open discourse and transparency if that's something that the city council would want to do.
I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about us,
Right.
the people here, because we need to be here, right? Or otherwise participate via Zoom. And I'm okay with posting because if I'm well, I'm not feeling well, I'm going to post something on my door. I'm not feeling well. If you want to come in and join in the meeting, you're welcome to join me in the meeting. So I'm okay with that. So anyway, I hope that we can continue this because I don't want to miss a meeting. You know, if we're not feeling well, my opinion is we need to follow the health guidelines. Stay home.
Yeah, it works if it's a quarantine issue.
Right, exactly. So, and the second question I have, Mr. Stewart, just kind of I just caught about this, the tiny clarification in terms of the date. If we extend the existence of local emergency to March 31, does it affect us meeting in person on March 28? There's no conflict there. Okay.
That would be fine, yeah.
Okay, all right, very good. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Hamada, you have any questions or comments?
Nothing further.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Coops?
To answer some more of the questions posed by the Mayor Pro Tem Sonny Sanez, that if we were to do what you suggested, Mr. City Attorney, you would have to be in the confines of the city limits. If suddenly Sonny doesn't feel well and he's at his mountain cabin, can he post it and be in compliance?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I've actually had a council member post on their tent in the middle of Yosemite for purposes of participating. So the answer to that is yes, you can be outside the jurisdiction. The key is that you have to have a quorum that's inside the jurisdiction present at council chambers. But as long as that's the case, other council members can call in or Zoom in as the case may be.
Right, well, that answered that question.
There you
right?
go.
I thought maybe you had to be in the city limits or something.
Above
So
the
the
county.
constituents would have accessibility rather than travel somewhere. But that's not the case.
No, unless they want to go to his mountain retreat at
Well,
Big
and
Bear.
maybe
Rather come here.
that's where he goes to heal. You know?
That means only two can be on a trip at a time.
That's right. All right, that's all I have.
Mr. Sanchez?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question for staff, and it's related to, would there be an added expense if it were to be allowed to continue this way as a full hybrid, where they're either residents could be in attendance in person or via Zoom?
Yeah, infinitesimal, a tiny amount, if at all. I mean, so probably not worth considering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Do we have any idea how many people watch what we're doing here on Zoom?
I can tell you how many we have online right now. We have a total of 22 participants, and that does include any staff that's currently tuning in.
All right, and so that would also allow staff to conduct themselves as PJ did this evening, give the flag salute from a different location?
Yeah, that's true. That would allow it, although I think we all agree that doing in person is better, and I will
No,
start.
but I wanted to know how far
Yeah.
reaching this goes, you know?
It would go as far reaching as necessary as we currently do it. I think we want to keep those options open, but it would be my desire to have the staff here at the meeting.
And I would agree with that. I'm just trying to figure out where we draw the line. That's all I have.
The only thing my takeaway on this was Mayor Pro Tem Santa Inez's comment of making sure the dais is a full board of people here, and you sound like you were okay with that as a posting and whatnot, so that fixes your problem then. So the pleasure would be, from a consensus up here, I guess, was we go back to in-room council meetings.
What options?
Except for us not being able to participate because of quarantine issue, then we can Zoom. We can Zoom in.
Yeah, Zoom in just like before with the posting.
Right.
The way it's always been.
I think what we're looking for, and I think what I'm hearing in the consensus, is to approve the resolution and then authorize the staff to continue on with a hybrid meeting starting on the 28th.
What do you mean by hybrid meeting?
Not a full hybrid. It's just
No.
basically
Yes,
Yeah.
that was my question for
Yeah.
clarification, if it would be as we are now or hybrid when needed.
when needed.
When needed, yeah. This is a hybrid meeting.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. So the desire is not to have public comment, be able to call in, they have to come
No,
to the
in
chambers to
person.
make it. Okay, that's fine. That's
I
fine.
think that's the way I read
Right.
everybody. And then, if for some reason things turn, if chances are when the weather gets cold again, who knows what's going to happen, and it's a matter of one council meeting. We can go back to hybrid if the health orders say we have to.
My only question would be, is to the city clerk, would be how much time do you need to switch on and off that way?
Yes, that was what I was just thinking about, was we would need to know whether we would be in a hybrid mode or not by the posting of the agenda. Am I right, Carl?
We can probably put that in the, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I think the trigger is going to be the health authority guidelines. If they
Yeah.
say
Yeah. the way
the
it's been
Brown
now.
Act again is suspended, then we can automatically go back to the old method back then, right?
Absent any guidelines from the health department, you're free to do whatever you want to. If the health department says that people can't meet indoors for public meetings, then we obviously
We can't
can't
meet
do that.
indoors.
So, I don't, you're right. I guess I'd phrase it differently in that if the health department shuts down the public meetings again, we'd have to go to the hybrid. I think that's the way I'd phrase that, so, yeah.
So I guess a motion would be, we're going to go back the way it's been until further notice.
I think the only motion you need is to adopt the resolution tonight And then we have direction, I believe, consensus from the council, how we go forward on the council meetings.
Mr. Mayor, if I may have one question for staff.
Yeah, go, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr.
Sanchez,
Mayor.
go ahead.
We would continue to do the Zoom online videos, correct? That would continue to stream and everything else?
I'm hearing differently.
No.
I think that's why I was
No.
asking clarification. I think that
That's
the,
what I was-
yeah.
No, I think it's gonna be recorded, but.
Right,
not
it would be
Zoom.
continued recorded
The
via
recording.
YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it would
That
continue to
doesn't
be
change, right?
recorded,
That doesn't change.
and we, okay. Got it. Thank you.
Similar it was in 2019.
Got it. There you go.
Seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution number 22-13.
I'll second the motion.
Got a motion on the floor by Councilmember Coops and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Sunny Santa Ynez. Call roll, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Santinas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hamada,
Aye.
Councilmember Coops,
Aye.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Aye.
Mayor Dutton.
Aye. Okay, item 13B, Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, this is consideration possible action to authorize the city manager to execute a license agreement with Bellflower Cedar LLC, Azure Development, in a form approved by the city attorney to utilize the city-owned parcel, which is APN numbered 7161-013-901, for parking related to the structure located at 17634. The council, I believe, is familiar with this issue. What this is a request for the city to grant a license agreement to Azure Development that would allow her to enter into a settlement agreement with the property next door at 17634 Bellflower Boulevard in such time that the owner of that, the current owner of that property could potentially lease that space out in a use that is acceptable to the city and provide parking for it as a part of her project, with the ultimate aim of the developer buying that building at the future down the line. What we're suggesting is a limited term license agreement of no more than 5 years, and that would be obviously revocable when the city, because it issues the license agreement. But we believe that issuing the license agreement protects the city and allows the developer to help settle the lawsuit that she has with the building next door. We have the developer on the line who can answer any questions that you might have related to this item, and I would encourage you to ask any questions that you need to on that, or ask staff anything that you need to know on this item.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem. Santa Ynez, you have some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of clarifications here. Mr. De La Longa, are you online?
I am.
Yes, okay. Will there be any improvements to be made on the city-owned property?
I believe there are. It's going to be associated with the parking that will be needed for that other use. But I think the developer, Ms. Delgado, can give you more of an explanation there.
Okay. And then just on the, in terms of the license agreement, I'm sure that there's going to be insurance protecting the city to be included, Mr. City Attorney.
Have you met our city attorney? Yeah.
And also, Mr. De La Longa, I just noticed in the letter addressed to you, I just noticed this earlier. It says we request that the license be assignable to Al Lababidi if Bellflower Cedar is unable to fulfill its contractual obligations.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. That is a request from Mr. I won't even attempt the last name. That is a request from the other property owner that in the event that something happens to the developer, or the project falls through, or whatever, that could be assignable to him at the sole discretion of the city. I think that gives us all the protection we need on that, because the request could come in, but we're under no obligation to grant it.
Okay, so it's not part of the license agreement.
It would be in the license agreement, but again, it's at the sole discretion of the city.
Of the city, okay.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I can assure you that there would be no advantage to either property owner with regard to the license agreement. So all the advantages go with the city.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure that I was concerned when I read that line just a few minutes ago. Okay, very good. That's all I have.
Okay, you're good. Mr. Hamada.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just looking at the site plan that was provided, just so like everybody can understand. So if there's again, parking to be placed on that city property. It would it be reciprocal, so to speak, from a standpoint of not only the project underway that's being built now can use it, but also the property to the north?
I would defer that to Ms. Delgado, and I believe she's on the line.
Okay.
I'm here if you'd like me to
Yes.
answer.
Let me ask my other colleagues if you have any questions first, Ms. Delgado.
Yeah. All right.
Mr. Sanchez? Mr. Coops?
I'm sorry, just
No.
one more.
Mr. Hamada has one question, then we'll hear from you.
Yeah, just one more, again, related to that parking area. And so it looks like how it's drawn, there appears to provide still some remaining access to the property to the north. So at the rear.
My response is the same on
All
that
right,
one as
well,
well. Yeah.
we'll wait for, that's all right, thank you. I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hopefully Vanessa.
Okay, Ms. Delgado, you want to answer that?
Sure. Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute, you had the same question?
No, earlier. I thought we are gonna have the city council members first ask the questions of the staff.
Well, I think we wanted to get an answer from
Okay.
Ms. Delgado.
All right, thank you, City
Okay.
Council members. Yes, so we are going to be improving the lot with landscaping and striping. And we're going to be responsible for maintenance and making sure that the property is kept well. The parking will technically be open to anybody. We're not going to restrict customers from lock and key, for example. But we don't anticipate a lot of extra people coming into the property. But yeah, this is an interim solution, and then we'd hope that in the future it can be used to expand patio areas and open space.
So, just to follow up on my question,
Go ahead.
thank you, Ms. Delgado, for the response to my question. Just a clarification: is there a need to resurface the parking lot, or is it already usable for parking at this point?
The city's done a pretty good job of keeping it well maintained, so we don't actually have to resurface your lot. We do have to resurface our neighbor's property, so we'll make it look complete and whole.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right. Mr. Hamada, do you have a question?
Well, yeah,
for Vanessa?
again, maybe the second part. I think maybe you've answered because again, once you do it, again, everybody can use it. And so if is that the lock and key north of the other building, if they have a delivery, they can go in the back. I'm not sure about the full setting, so. There'll be vehicle access. It looks like there's vehicle access between the handicap space and parking space number 5.
Yeah, the Lock and Key has been a community, like a great neighbor, so we're not going to do anything to restrict their use. But their customers don't come in through the back, so it really needs somebody, at Lock and Key. But they've been great to us, so we wouldn't restrict them from coming onto the site.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Sanchez, do you have any questions with Vanessa? Mr. Coops?
The only question I have is, when are you going to open your Starbucks?
Well, so this is a public meeting, but we should anticipate no later than the second week of April, assuming Edison gets us permanent power on time. So I'm really excited about that. And then hopefully we'll be opening the rest of the businesses this summer.
All right, thanks.
That'd be great.
Glad to hear it. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I'm just going to make one comment for those in TV land. This is the new development at the corner of Cedar and Bellflower Boulevard that we're discussing here tonight, about some property behind another property owner's building. And I just want to thank you with all the struggles that you've had, Vanessa, to be able to build such a beautiful new development. And it's very appealing. Thank you very much. And I'm sure my colleagues feel the same way.
Thank you, Mayor. I have to tell you, and it's not because they're here, but staff has been amazing. Really one of the best city teams that I've ever worked with. So thank you.
And thank you for the compliment too. All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Somebody want to entertain a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a license agreement with Bellflower Cedar LLC as your development in a form approved by the city attorney, allowing vehicle parking on the city-owned parcel identified as APN 7161-013-901.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Sonny Santa Ynez and Councilmember Raymond Hamada. Call roll, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Santa Ynez.
Aye.
Councilmember Hamada.
Aye.
Councilmember Coops.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Aye.
Mayor Dutton.
Aye. Okay, item 14 is the consent calendar. Does anybody have any conflicts or want to pull any items for discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item number 14D.
14,
And
did you say 14D?
Yes, 14D as in dog.
Okay. And was there another one?
And then 14F.
14F. Mr. Coops, do you have any?
No, and I'm not conflicted out on any, so I'm good to go.
Really?
Yep.
Mayor, I'd
Yes.
like to pull item 14E.
Sonny, okay. And Mr. Hamada, you have anything?
Okay, I'm going to have comments on D and F.
Which one?
D and F.
14D and F.
Same as Victor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Okay.
And, Mr. Mayor, staff would like to withdraw item C. At this time, we believe we have a slight conflict in the municipal code we need to resolve before we can consider this item in the future.
At 14C, okay. And then I'm the only conflict tonight, so I got to recuse myself from item 14C, the one we're withdrawn, so that don't matter. Okay. Take that back.
So it looks like we're approving 2 items.
That don't happen very often. Okay, let's do, we'll just start in the order I got them. Victor, I'll let you do 14D, and I'm going to let Hamada do 14F. I'm going to share. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I like that. Well, on 14D, Mr. Mayor, I just want to highlight that the continued work by our Parks and Rec department to bring improvements to both Constitution Park and Thompson Park, and the fact that we're authorizing this agreement here for the design group to start working on that, and on top of that, the meetings that were put together by our Parks and Rec department where our residents had the opportunity to voice their thoughts and bring their ideas to the table. Just want to commend Parks and Rec staff for that and highlight that, because I think this is going to be exciting for us in both Thompson Park and Constitution Park. So that was all, Mr. Mayor. Those are my comments
Okay.
on 14D.
Mr. Hamada, 14F, what do you got there?
Again, just to again add the 14D, I just wanted to again echo the sentiments and again definitely wanted to thank PJ and his staff for putting together the sessions, but again mostly I wanted to thank the residents that came out to speak. There were some very good comments, and I think staff got some great information to at least move on some things and at least have a clearer picture on the again park improvements. So I think that was the best part of it. So that's all for D. So with F, I just wanted to expand on our trip to Sacramento. So again, Councilmember Sanchez, again Travis Sice, and I made it up to the contract cities with a legislative tour, and I wanted to point out it was very productive. Our first day, which was again after we got up there, we had set up meetings with Senator Archuleta. We set up a meeting with staff of the Assemblyperson Garcia, and then we finished a session with the Speaker of the Assembly, Anthony Rendon. So we were able to discuss some projects and again added our thoughts on some of the issues down here. They were very receptive, and they were very helpful. That was the one thing we were able to get across. We actually spent more time than we thought with the senator and also with the, again, both others. And we had we were able to, again, thoroughly, again, convey our sentiments on, again, certain issues. So, but the program itself was very good. Again, as you see on the schedule, there was a number of panels that we had, and it was, again, not only on the economy, public safety. We also had on look at homelessness, and again, we were getting quite enlightened by some of the comments from some of the state elected officials. They were quite candid in some cases. It was good to hear again some of their thoughts on how the state's going to proceed on some things, and again what we can do as again local cities to again hopefully take care of business. So it was again very productive. Again, we were able to get into the Capitol, so that was a nice part because they had pretty much shut it down prior, and but all the electeds are in a separate office building, so we were able to go inside there too. So, but again, a great trip, and it was definitely worth the time. Right? Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hamada.
Mr.
You want to add anything, Mr. Sanchez?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I just wanted to bullet point the 3 topics that we really were able to kind of bring to our legislators that Councilmember Hamada mentioned. We focused on educating these legislators on the efforts that we as a city have been doing to combat our and support our homeless neighbors and getting them off the street, and then how they could help us moving forward with some of the goals here for the city. And then secondly, we focused on street racing and public safety concerns with takeovers, and we wanted to make sure that they were aware that we are, that's important for us, that they would pass legislation that would help us in that manner. And sadly to say, while we were up there, we had that one incident on Downey and Artesia, so it kind of played to the narrative that what we were there for and what we were advocating for. And then the third item was Caltrans, and just the continued concerns of, not being cleaned well enough, not being well maintained, and so forth. I think that's all something that we share, that we want. All these 3 topics were important to us, and so we brought that over to Sacramento, specifically to our legislators, and just wanted to share those bullet points. There were many more little conversations, but these were the 3 key ones. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Victor.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we do have one raised hand on Zoom from Christopher Lefevers. Would you like to take the comment
Yeah, let's
now?
get that right now. Okay, Christopher, what do you got?
Hi, sir. This is in regards to the permit parking on 16709 Orchard Avenue, 14C. I heard that it was withdrawn. I don't understand what that means. I'm representing my small little block. As far as I was told from the Public Safety Commission, we were able to get it since we had 100% signatures for our street, even though it is small. It's still qualified for, the permit parking.
And
this was the last.
Let's explain. I think it's on our end, not your end.
Yeah, no, it's not your end, and the item, you did everything correctly, and the approval from the commission still stands. What we learned after the commission approved it, that there seems to be a glitch in the code that may not be anticipated. We can't approve an item that is in violation of our own municipal code, so we need to review that and possibly make a correction to it before we can get back to this item. I don't think the item's dead. I think it's just delayed for a short time.
It'll be delayed for 2 weeks?
Maybe longer,
Okay.
because we'd have to introduce the code and then go through the.
Oh, we have to
hearing
redo
period and stuff,
code?
So, but yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I
So
think
what-
they were
what
really
do I
counting
have
on
to
this.
I know. It's just a situation where I believe, frankly, if we were to approve this, it would set a precedent that would not serve us well in the future, and I don't want to get started on that process. In short, I'll just be blunt. The reason why is the code says fairly specifically that the block can't be shorter than 750 feet. That block is shorter than 750 feet, and therefore, if we approve it, it would open the doors for several other short blocks to restrict parking that would not be beneficial to the community. So it's an unfortunate situation they got caught into this, and we just need to review the code. Or if there's a workaround, we'll try to find that too, but right now we haven't found it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Christopher?
Okay, so what do we have to do as our block? As I said, I represent the people that live there, and we're just concerned that it's going to be put on the back pedal. We did everything we had to do, and we went to random people's houses down the streets. They didn't want it. That's not our concern. We're only concerned for our street. I'm sorry to be blunt, but
Yeah, well, let me be blunt back. We still can't do something that's in opposition to our code, and I think you just heard the city manager say that it would be not put on the back burner, that we will get to this as quickly as we can, and it's our situation. We will need to fix it.
okay. Would we be notified of, while your guys are reviewing that?
Yes, of course. We'll
Or-
keep you posted where we're at on the whole process on that. Yeah.
Because I only happened to come across the meeting tonight. I just happened to look. I mean, we weren't made aware of it or anything. So if I didn't take the chance to look, I wouldn't have even known.
Call
So-
the city manager's office tomorrow, and I'll walk you through the whole process, and we'll set up a form of communication, so there'll be no mysteries about what's going on that. And I'll be around
Okay.
all day tomorrow, so just give me a call.
City manager's office around what time, sir?
Anytime. I'll be here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, so anytime after that.
And what was your name again? I'm sorry.
My name is Jeff Stewart.
Jeff Stewart. Okay, sir. Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, Jeff Stewart is the city manager, Christopher. So
Okay.
you'll be talking to a secretary or not secretary, but executive assistant, and she will get you to him, or he'll call you
All right.
back if he's busy. Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
You threw me a curve.
Take
We
care.
went to the third person.
Mr. Mayor, can I just make a comment here, Mr. Mayor? Mr.
Yes,
Mayor.
you may.
Yeah, Mr. Lefevers, let me just assure you that based on the conversation tonight, you and the rest of the block has done whatever needs to be done. So you're done. So basically, the reason why you were notified tonight is this is city council meeting. You were notified during the Public Safety Commission meeting. So that's where your testimony was required. Your testimony for tonight is not required. That's why you were not notified.
Okay, I guess if I don't want to take up any more time than I'm allowed, but I guess my real question now that I thought of it is, is it not going to be approved, or you just need to fix that?
No, it won't be,
loophole?
no. Look, I can't speak for the council. It has to go through the public process. But
Right.
the staff recommendation, once we need to correct our code, do our homework on this, we'll do it as quickly as we can. And then once that is corrected, we will come back with a recommendation to approve this item in the near future. So it's not going to be approved. It's just going to be delayed.
Okay, thank you. I apologize for that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, remember to call the city manager's office tomorrow.
Will do.
Okay. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Santa Ynez, it's your turn
Yeah, thank
for
you, Mr.
14E.
Mayor. Yes, I just want to share with the rest of my city council colleagues my conversation with the city clerk today regarding this policy on destruction of obsolete records. The reason my conversation with her occurred was I was browsing the list of records, and just on the first page, I was kind of taken aback because it says that one of the items listed was destroyed after 1985, and we still have not destroyed it. So that caught my attention. so I picked up the phone and talked to our city clerk. So first of all, I want to appreciate our city clerk and the rest of the city staff, directors for starting to clean up our records again. It's been a while. And my second comment is based on my conversation with the city clerk. It appeared that the last time that the record retention policy was reviewed was when we still have the former city attorney and the former city clerk. So I would encourage both parties to take a second look to make sure that our record retention policy is legal and up to snuff. It's been a while.
How old it is.
So anyway, those are just my comments about this item 14E.
My, how time flies, because I kind of remember that. That's been a long time.
Exactly. Since we have two new
Sonny
players.
doesn't remember it because he wasn't born yet. That's how old they are. And how young he is.
I mean Victor.
I mean Victor, yes.
So anyway.
Victor predates this.
So anyway, I just want to share with you my conversation with our city clerk.
All right, well, thank
right.
you for having that
Thank
extra
you.
set of eyes.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay.
I just want to note that it is in our sights and it is on our to-do list to revamp the retention schedule next. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, does anybody want to make a motion for the consent calendar?
Move the consent calendar.
Second.
And that would be without item 14C.
Yeah, omit item
Amended.
C.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor, I think, by Coops and second by Sanchez. Without objection, that'll be the order. Can I do that on
Yeah.
Zoom? Okay.
Do I need a roll call?
You need a roll
City
call on
attorney?
Zoom, don't you? Yeah.
The city council isn't on Zoom, so you don't need the roll call for the city council.
Okay.
Council reports. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem Santa Ynez.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quick, I just want to share that on September 2nd, I was invited to Washington Elementary School to read before the kindergarten students in celebration of Read Across America and the reopening of their library. So I was honored to read a book by Dr. Seuss before the kindergarten students. And I want to thank the principal, Ms. Diaz-Arroyo, and the librarian, Ms. Rios, for a very warm welcome. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Hamada.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's see, last Friday, I went on a 3-hour ride-along with one of our deputies. It was one of the patrol deputies, and we were able to cover a lot of territory in 3 hours. And we stopped, made a number of stops, and he chatted to members of the public and kept very busy on looking for stolen cars. So we chatted about equipment and procedure, and we chatted about homeless and the whole thing. But it was very enlightening. Again, you can see a lot more from a sheriff's deputy car. I don't know, sometimes maybe more than just a regular car, because he's always very attentive to all over the place at once. So at this point, it was a very good trip, and I wanted to thank Deputy Ruiz for that service to me. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hamada. Councilmember Coops.
I have nothing to comment.
Councilmember Sanchez.
No comments, Mr. Mayor. Made them earlier.
Okay, I would like to thank everybody for coming out in TV land for us. And with that, I'm going to call for adjournment. We are adjourned to the next regular meeting of the Bellflower City Council at 5:30 Monday, March 28th, 2002, 8:13.
All right.
Recording stopped.